Okay, so the first thing I'm asking you for in all four of these is a vertex. So let's go through and find the vertex. So you've got the first one here is -3, -6. Can you all tell me the next one, please? How you guys feel about that? You got to make sure you get your positives and negatives in order here, okay? Number 3, how about a vertex? That one's easy enough to see. And how about for number 4? Any issues on what a vertex is? We're all okay? All right, what's the next thing I ask you for? Axis of symmetry? Everybody all right with that? Now remember, the axis of symmetry cuts it right down the middle. What do they always start with? X equals, right? Okay, so what does the x equal here in this vertex? How about here? X equals 0. And how about here? Also x equals 0. Does anybody have any issues on the axis of symmetry? You all right, Dylan? Okay. Now, does everybody see how this says the maximum/minimum value? Normally, we just say a max or a min, yes? But this is a value, so I need to have some kind of number here. First of all, is this a maximum or a minimum? This one is a minimum. What is the minimum here? It is -6. Please notice we chose the y value for this. If I'm talking maxes and mins, we're talking ups and downs, we're talking y's. How about for number 2? Is that a max or a min? That's a max. What is the maximum value? It is 5. Notice again the y value for the maximum. How about number 3? And what is it? Wonderful. And number 4? And this time it's -4. Good. Any questions at all so far? Okay, last but not, oh no, excuse me. Next is y-intercept. Y-intercept is where this thing crosses the y-axis. Okay, so take a look. Do everybody see the little O on there? That means origin. Okay, so here's my y-axis, which means right there is the y-intercept. What point is that? Give me the order pair. There we go, 0, 3. How about the y-intercept here? Wonderful. How about the y-intercept here? And the y-intercept here? Close. Everybody okay with all that? Still nothing new, right? Just writing it in a different order maybe than we have before? Yes, the value for the max or the min. Okay, and the last thing I'm asking you for is a domain and range. Okay, what can I put for domain for all of these? All of them. Because we'll talk about domain and range of other functions, so I want to make sure you know what it stands for. Okay, so let's talk range here of number 1. If you look at that graph of number 1, all of the y's, if this is a minimum, have to be what? Greater than or equal to what? -6. Perfect. On this one, for the range, the y's have to be, if this is a maximum, the y's would have to be less than or equal to 5. Wonderful. Range here, if this is a maximum. Wonderful. Is everybody doing okay? And then finally for this other guy over here for the range. Wonderful. Awesome. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay. I am not going to fill in this chart for you today. I think we filled it in quite a bunch. You should know those 3 categories between linear, exponential, and quadratic. Which category are we in? Quadratic. And what shape does a quadratic make? A parabola. And what about an equation? So for example, if you flip it over, what about all of these equations tell me it's quadratic? The highest power is 2, it's squared. Perfect. So I think we're good on that chart. We're all good on that chart? Okay, flip it over to the back. Now you are going to have to produce these graphs. So if you would please, in number 1, get that graph in front of you. I'll give you a minute or two. Get that graph in front of you, please. Quite honestly, why don't we go ahead and put all three of them in? Would that be okay with you guys? Okay, can somebody read me that first one? Okay, how about the second one? -5, you said? Wonderful. And the last one? Minus, what did you say? 16. Okay, I don't know if you guys knew that you could do this or not. I have three of them up there, right? If I click on these circles, it turns them on and off. So I'll just turn those first two off. Excuse me, the second two off, and we'll look at the first one. Is this okay for everybody? Okay, now take a look at what is being asked of you. What does letter A want? Now it says determine if it has a maximum or minimum value. So what does this one have, a max or a min? Okay, then if you look at letter B, it says state the maximum or minimum value. So back here, what is the maximum value? 9. Perfect. Everybody doing all right? Letter C asks you for the domain and range. Well, we of course know domain. Now the range. If this is a maximum, the y's have to be perfect. How we doing, guys? No surprises. This is nothing new, right? Than we did on Friday and the day before and the day before. What day are we on this material? What day number is this? 4. So this should be pretty well cemented into your head here. Number 2, so you can go ahead and turn that graph off and turn the next one on. Everybody good? Okay, can you tell me if this thing has a maximum or a minimum? Can you tell me what the minimum is? You just click it on it. The point. We know the domain. And now for the range. If this is a minimum, what do we know about our y's? Perfect. Wonderful. Guess what you're going to be doing on your homework tonight? This. Number 3. Okay, go ahead and turn that second one off. And we'll turn the third one on. It looks like I need to zoom out. Is that what your graph looks like? It is a big max this time? Okay, well, I'm glad you told me it was a max because that's my first answer. What is it? 33. And then my domain is all real numbers. So on your quiz, guys, you can at least get a point right on every question if you can fill in all real numbers, right? Yeah. And then how about my range? If this is a maximum, less than or equal to 33. Perfect. You guys are doing great. So easy. As long as you know what you're looking at. Okay. Now, we're going to get into some word problems. And you guys hate word problems. You always have, and you always will. Fair enough? But what if I told you I could show a picture to you that would give you all of the answers I'm going to ask you to this word problem? You'd say, awesome, sign me up, right? And I'm going to tell you Desmos is going to do that for us. Okay. Look at the situations in these problems. The first one I think is shooting an arrow. Okay, I want you to think of the flight path of an arrow. What happens to it? It goes up and then back down, correct? What shape is that? It's a parabola. What's the next situation? Is it throwing a javelin? Throwing a javelin, you all know what a javelin is? It's like the spear thing. What happens? It goes up and then it comes back down. It's a parabola, isn't it? Next situation. Golf. Think about a golf ball, right? You hit it, it goes up and it comes back down. Parabola. And is there a last one or is that it? That's all of them, right? Okay, so you can see that all of these situations involve parabolas. And we know how to put a parabola on our Desmos, right? So you're going to have a picture right in front of you. Can you do me a favor, please? And take a look at this equation. Does everybody see it? Right here? What does the y stand for? What about the arrow? You guys see that y is the height? What is the x? Seconds. Okay, so let's go ahead and type that into Desmos, please. And let's take a look. Do you guys want to go ahead and type all these in at once again? Yeah? No? Okay, we don't have to. Can somebody read me that first graph, please? Now, you may need to zoom out so you can see how this arrow is going. Is everybody okay with this picture? Is everybody good with this or no? Yes? There's my arrow. It's going up and coming back down, yes? Okay, so let's see if we can answer these questions and not do a single lick of math. You ready? I knew you would. Okay, it says, at what height was the arrow shot? So here I am, standing here with my bow and arrow. Does the arrow start on the ground? No, it starts up here, doesn't it? Now the graph can tell me that. Where on the graph will it tell me where the arrow starts? Right there. If the x is 0, that means 0 seconds, correct? So at 0 seconds, how high was the arrow? Which would make sense. This is about 4 foot off the ground, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to answer this question. For letter A, how high, at what height was the arrow shot? 4, I believe this is feet, is that correct? Yes. Again, did we do any math for that? That was just the y-intercept, wasn't it? Haven't we been finding that for the past 4 days? Okay, next question. What was the maximum height of the arrow? Well, right up there is the maximum, isn't it? So the question is, which value do I want, the x or the y? The y, because this is 3 seconds, isn't it? Whereas it's 160 feet. Yes? Can everybody round to 1 decimal place for me, please? 160 point. Now, I told you 1 decimal point. I believe it should round to 160.3. It was 0.25, doesn't it? Wasn't it? Okay. Again, did you do any math there? Nope. All you did was click on the dot. Next question. How high is the arrow after 2 seconds? Now, folks, where this says 2 seconds, that's an X, isn't it? Hold on. This is an X, isn't it? 2 seconds. So you could go to this graph and you can say, okay, when do I get to a point when the X is 2? Now, folks, it's going to take me a while, isn't it? Do you see it? Now, it's pretty hard to get it to stop there, isn't it? Can I show you another trick? Ready? Okay, I'm going to, you don't know how to do it, so I'm at least going to need one of your eyes, and I'm pretty sure if you give me one of your eyes, I need 2 of your eyes, yes? Okay, see this gear up here? Click on it. Do you see the thing that looks like a table? Click on it. We said the X was 2, didn't we? What'd you tell me it was, Dalton? 140 is 2. Look at that, it's all the perfect points. So, from now on, when you make a graph, I could do this and find all my nice points to graph. Is that okay? So what's your answer for letter C? 140 feet. Now, to get out of that, you're going to press this undo arrow. Does everybody see this undo arrow? You okay? You okay back there? You press the undo arrow and it takes it back. Last question for this situation. How long does it take the arrow to hit the ground? How do I know where it hits the ground? Which would be the x-intercept, wouldn't it? Folks, do you see how there's 2 x-intercepts? Which one do I want? The one on the right, which is how long? What are we going to round this to? 6.3 seconds. Now, guys, this should make sense. Isn't the vertex right in the middle? And this took 3.125 seconds. So if I double that, wouldn't I get this down here? Make sense? So we're going to say 6.3 seconds that arrow is in the air. Sure, you can. Yeah, that's fine. Again, I ask you, did you do any math there? No, you just looked at the graph and found the spots where I was testing you on, where I was asking you a question about. Fair enough? Okay, let's get rid of that one. And let's get the other one in there. Does everybody see the equation? Now, I did have a typo on this. Does everybody see where it says the javelin? That should be a J, the javelin. Sorry about that. Now, does everybody see how this equation has y's and t's in it? I think Desmos will handle t's, but if it didn't, couldn't you just change those to x's? Okay. So let's get that in there. All right, somebody give that to me. Y equals, I'm going to use x squared plus 64x plus 6. All right, so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. What's that? It does handle t, yes. But you know what? I bet you it's not. Can you try and change it into the table? I bet you it's not going to handle the t in a table. So you're going to need to go back and change it to x's. Okay, so go ahead and do that real quick before we get started. So did you change them all to x's? Y equals negative 16x squared plus 6. So now if I do the gear and then the table, it won't do it for you? You're good? Okay, that's fine. All right, guys. Looks like a javelin, doesn't it? Going up and then down? Fair enough. Let's answer our questions. At what height did Emilio throw the javelin? No. Does the javelin start on the ground? It starts up in my hand. Now you got to look at this. You got to look at this graph. No. Where does he start? The javelin starts right here, doesn't it? Yikes, this is a pretty tall dude. If I'm standing here with this javelin at my hand and it's 6 foot tall, I'm taller than 6 foot tall, aren't I? Yeah, pretty big dude. Does everybody... What's that? Are you okay or no? No? Okay. Again, I ask you folks, does everybody understand why I'm saying 6 here? Because if the x is 0, that's at 0 seconds. Okay, so we have 6, and I think we're still in feet. Are we still in feet? Yes. 6 feet. Next question. What is the highest the javelin will travel? Well, that's right up there. Highest point, which would be 70 feet. How high is the javelin after 1 second? Now remember, there's 2 ways to do this. You either grab your dot and you start going till you find a 1, right? Or you hit your gear, you turn it into a table, and you're telling me 54 feet. Last question for this situation. How long does it take the javelin to hit the ground? Hits the ground at those 2 spots. Which one do I want? Which would be 4.1. This 9 would make that round up to a 1. I would like everything in 1 decimal place when we're doing these, please. 4.1, and this is seconds. We're good? Can we do one more? Are you okay, Dalton, or no? No? Not so much? Yep. Okay, you guys go ahead and type in your next one, and I'm going to help Dalton here. All right, folks. Can somebody read for me the situation? Now remember, we want X's and Y's, right? What you got? Yes, you should change the H to a Y. Does everybody see how it starts with an H? Normally we start with a Y, so that'll be Y equals, so that'll be X squared, right? And then what? Does anybody have any issues changing things to Y's and X's? What's the situation? This is the golf ball one. Question for you. Where does the golf ball normally start anyways? On the ground, right? Let's see if it does. Sure does at 0, 0. So for letter A, what is the height the ball is hit? 0, this time we're in meters, actually. If you look at your directions, we're in meters. 0 meters. At what height is the ball hit? It's on the ground. That means it must not be the first shot, because normally the first shot's on a tee, right? And it'd be off the ground a little bit. Must not be the first shot. What is the maximum height of the ball? So we're looking right here. We would round that up to 50, wouldn't we? Yeah. 50, and again, this is meters. How high is the ball after 4 seconds? So does everybody see how I don't have a 4 here? Yeah, so if you just click below it and you type in, maybe. Oh, what's going on here? Backspace. Okay, so if I put a 4 in there, there we go. Do you all have 46.8 there on your chart? Does anybody need help entering that? We're all good. So we're going to say that's 46.8. And again, this is meters. How long does it take the ball to hit the ground? 6.4, she says, which would be right there. 6.4. Question, how long does it take to get to the highest point? How long does it take to get to the highest point? 3 point, I think it should be 3.2. That would be up here, wouldn't it? Wouldn't that round to 3.2? Yes? All right, guys, do you have any questions for me today? No? Okay, so I would like to really stress to you, in this homework I'm going to give you, make sure that you read directions. Please notice, this just says 21B and C. Are you supposed to do A? Are you supposed to do D? No, you're only going to do B and C. Everybody good? You're going to read the directions, right? I hope so too. All right, rest of the time is yours. Work with whomever you'd like. As long as you're getting something accomplished.